The massive holographic display flickered to life in the United Earth Defense Force headquarters, casting an eerie blue glow across Admiral James Stone's weathered face. He stood straight, his hands clasped behind his back, as the alien message began to play. The symbol of the Galactic Council, a spiral of stars wrapped around a golden staff, rotated slowly above the projector. High Counselor Marcus appeared, his tall, slender form draped in elaborate robes. His gray skin and large, dark eyes were typical of his species, but the look of contempt on his face was all his own. "People of Earth," he began, his universal translator giving his words a metallic echo. "The time has come for your world to begin paying its fair share to the galactic community." Admiral Stone's jaw tightened, but he remained silent as the message continued. Around him, other military officers and government officials watched with growing tension. "Your species has enjoyed 50 years of access to our trade routes since achieving faster-than-light travel," Marcus continued. "You have learned from our technologies, traded in our markets, and benefited from our protection. The Council has decided that Earth must now pay an annual tribute." The hologram shifted to display a list of demands. The quantities of rare earth elements, precious metals, and other resources scrolled endlessly. The amounts were staggering, enough to cripple Earth's industrial capacity for years to come. "You have 3 standard months to prepare your first payment," Marcus declared. "Should you refuse, Earth will be cut off from all galactic trade routes. Your ships will be turned away from every civilized port. Your colonies will be isolated. Choose wisely." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the room in tense silence. Admiral Stone turned to face the assembled leaders. "They think we're weak," he said quietly. "They see us as children who need to be taught our place." General Laura Hayes, commander of Earth's Mars colonies, stepped forward. "The amounts they're demanding would set our expansion efforts back by decades. We can't possibly agree to this." "They expect us to submit," Stone replied, walking to the window that overlooked the sprawling military complex. In the distance, public transport pods zipped between gleaming towers, their occupants unaware of the threat looming over their heads. The Council has done this before to other young spacefaring races. They wait until a civilization has just enough technology to be useful, then squeeze them for resources. "What are our options?" asked Defense Minister Wilson, his dark skin glistening with nervous sweat. A slight smile crossed Stone's face. "They made 3 critical mistakes. First, they think 50 years is a short time. Second, they believe we've only been preparing for war since we achieved FTL travel. And third," he pressed a button on his desk, bringing up a classified display of Earth's hidden military assets. "They have no idea what humanity can do when backed into a corner." The room erupted in murmurs as the true extent of Earth's secret fleet appeared on screen. Deep in the asteroid belt, hundreds of warships had been constructed in silence. Mining operations that appeared to be civilian enterprises on official records had been building humanity's response to alien aggression for decades. "Send a message to the Council," Stone ordered. "Tell them we need time to prepare their tribute. That should buy us the weeks we need to mobilize without raising suspicion." He turned to face the assembled leaders, his expression determined. Humanity didn't survive ice ages, plagues, and our own wars just to become slaves to alien bureaucrats. Let them think we're primitive. Let them think we're weak. When the time comes, they'll learn what Earth's tribute really looks like. As the officials filed out to begin preparations, Stone remained at the window. In 3 months, the galaxy would learn a valuable lesson about underestimating humanity. He just hoped the Council was ready for the education they were about to receive. Deep within the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Project Director Linda Wells stood in the observation deck of Base Aurora. Through the reinforced windows, she watched as automated construction drones swarmed around the latest addition to Earth's secret fleet, the Dreadnought-class warship Thunderchild. The ship's dark hull absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making it nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. This was just one of many innovations her team had developed by studying and improving upon alien technology over the past 15 years. Status report. She called out to her team, her voice steady despite the excitement building in her chest. The Council's demand for tribute had finally given them the reason to reveal what they'd been building in secret. Hull integrity at 100%, replied Tech Officer Michael Brown from his station. Stealth systems are functioning perfectly. The aliens won't see this baby until we want them to. Linda nodded, remembering the day Earth's leaders had chosen this path. After first contact, they had discovered how the Council treated younger species. Rather than wait to be exploited, humanity had decided to prepare in secret. Director Wells, her comm unit buzzed. Admiral Stone is requesting a full readiness report. He's on his way to inspect the fleet. She smiled. Right on schedule. Tell all section heads to prepare for inspection. Linda turned to her assistant, John Cooper. How many ships are combat ready? John pulled up a holographic display. 512 warships, ma'am. Each one equipped with our reverse-engineered and improved versions of alien tech. The Council's own shields won't know what hit them. The base's main hangar doors opened slowly, revealing the true scale of humanity's preparation. Ships of various sizes filled the massive space, their designs unlike anything seen in Council space. Some incorporated technology the aliens thought impossible for primitive humans to understand. Admiral Stone's shuttle docked 30 minutes later. As he stepped onto the observation deck, Linda handed him a tablet showing the fleet's capabilities. Impressive, he said, studying the numbers. The Council thinks we've spent 50 years copying their basic technology. They have no idea we've been improving on it. Linda gestured to a nearby screen showing engine schematics. We took their standard FTL drive and made it 40% more efficient. Their shield technology. We found 3 critical flaws and fixed them all. While they were busy looking down on us, we were busy learning everything we could. And the weapons? Stone asked, walking to the window to observe the Thunderchild. That's the best part, Linda replied. We developed an entirely new type of energy weapon. It uses the same principles as their shields, but reversed. Their defenses won't just be weak against it. They'll amplify the damage. A young engineer rushed in, holding a datapad. Director, we just completed the final tests on the AI combat systems. All ships are showing green across the board. Stone's expression hardened. How long until the entire fleet is ready to move? Linda checked her calculations. 2 weeks to finish loading supplies and running final checks. We can have all ships in position before the Council's deadline. Good, Stone replied, because we're going to give them a tribute they'll never forget. He turned to face the assembled team. Each of you has helped keep this project secret for years. You've worked in the shadows, away from your families, all to protect Earth. Soon, everyone will know what you've accomplished here. Through the window, more construction drones continued their work, adding the finishing touches to humanity's answer to alien arrogance. The Thunderchild's massive form blocked out the stars, a testament to human determination and ingenuity. The Council thinks they're dealing with children playing with borrowed toys, Linda said softly. They're about to learn that humanity has graduated with honors. In the gleaming towers of the Galactic Council's central headquarters, High Counselor Marcus smiled as he read the latest intelligence report. The large windows of his office showed the sprawling capital city below, where thousands of alien species conducted their daily business, all under the Council's watchful eye. Earth has begun moving their mining ships, he said to his assembled advisors. They're gathering resources for our tribute, just as expected. Intelligence Officer Thomas Reed, Earth's secret agent within the Council, stood quietly among the alien officials. His cybernetic implants and subtle genetic modifications made him appear as a member of one of the Council's merchant species. He fought to hide his amusement at their blindness. The humans are behaving exactly as predicted, said First Analyst Pete, his tentacles waving in satisfaction. Our surveillance shows increased activity in their asteroid belt. They're clearly working hard to meet our demands. Thomas spoke up, his voice carefully modulated. Perhaps we should increase monitoring. Some of their ships are moving in unusual patterns. Unnecessary, Marcus replied dismissively. Their technology is primitive. Our sensors can track every move they make. He gestured to a holographic display showing Earth's solar system. See how their merchants are repositioning. Classic resource gathering formation. What the Council failed to notice was that each merchant ship carried detailed scans of Council defense systems. Every trading mission had been gathering intelligence for years, preparing for this moment. Back on Earth, in a secure underground command center, Intelligence Director Emma Parker received Thomas's coded transmissions. The Council has taken the bait, she reported to Admiral Stone. They think our fleet movements are mining operations. Stone nodded, studying the tactical display. And our actual mining ships. Hidden in the dark side of Jupiter's moons, Emma replied. The real tribute preparation is a perfect cover for our military mobilization. Thomas has been feeding them exactly what they want to see. Across Earth's solar system, civilian ships continued their seemingly innocent movements, while the real fleet remained concealed. Construction crews had built massive holographic projectors on several asteroids, creating false images of mining operations that kept the Council's attention away from the war fleet's actual locations. In the Council chambers, Thomas attended another strategic meeting. The alien leaders discussed Earth's apparent submission with smug satisfaction. Their message requesting more time was so polite, one Council member laughed. These humans know their place after all. They've even started moving their defensive ships away from their colonies, another noted, clearly redirecting forces for mining operations. Thomas sent another coded message to Earth. Council remains overconfident. They believe all ship movements are tribute-related. Our deception is holding. Emma received the message in her command center and smiled. Final fleet position report. She announced to her staff. All warships are in place. Stealth systems functioning perfectly. The Council's sensors still show only mining activities. Admiral Stone's voice came through the comm system. Excellent. Begin final preparations. In 3 days, they'll learn the difference between gathering tribute and gathering strength. In his Council office, Marcus signed off on more reports, completely unaware of the trap closing around him. Earth is such a young species, he mused to his advisors. It's good that they're learning civilization's proper order so quickly. Thomas Reed quietly excused himself from the chamber. As he walked through the grand corridors, he thought about how the mighty Council, with all its advanced technology and centuries of dominance, had forgotten one crucial fact. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon is an enemy's own arrogance. The pieces were in place. Humanity's ships were ready. And the Council's greatest mistake was about to become apparent to the entire galaxy. The Council's Central Defense Command erupted into chaos as alarms blared throughout the massive complex. Emergency lights flashed red across the startled faces of alien officials who rushed to their stations. Multiple ships appearing from hyperspace, shouted a sensor operator, his 4 arms flying across the control panels. Count is impossible. 500 vessels just appeared in formation around the capital. High Counselor Marcus burst into the command center, his ceremonial robes wrinkled from his rushed arrival. What's happening? Who dares to? The words died in his throat as the main screen showed the massive fleet surrounding his world. Each ship was sleek, dark, and unmistakably of human design. At their center, the dreadnought Thunderchild dwarfed everything around it. Fleet Commander Alex Morgan stood on the Thunderchild's bridge, a slight smile on his face. All ships report ready. His tactical officer announced. Stealth systems disengage. The Council can see us clearly now. Open a channel to their command center, Morgan ordered. Let's show them what Earth's tribute really looks like. The Council's screens lit up with Morgan's transmission. He stood tall in his black uniform, the Earth Defense Force insignia gleaming on his chest. Greetings, High Counselor Marcus. I believe you were expecting a shipment of minerals. Marcus's gray skin paled further. This is impossible. Earth doesn't have this level of technology. Our intelligence, your intelligence, Morgan interrupted, saw exactly what we wanted you to see. While you were watching our mining ships, we were building this fleet. While you were mocking our primitive technology, we were improving yours. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Morgan nodded to his weapons officer. A demonstration, perhaps. A single shot from one of the smaller human vessels struck an unmanned satellite. The Council's supposedly impenetrable shields didn't just fail. They collapsed instantly, the energy turning inward to destroy the target. As you can see, Morgan continued, we've made some improvements to your shield technology. Fascinating how it can be reversed, isn't it? In the Council's command center, military advisors rushed to Marcus with reports. The human ships were using advanced versions of alien technology, modified in ways their scientists had thought impossible. Their sensors showed energy readings that shouldn't exist. Their weapons, one advisor whispered, they're using our own shield frequencies against us. Every defensive measure we have would only make their attacks stronger. Thomas Reed, still in his alien disguise, quietly sent his final report to Earth. Operation successful. Council Defense Command in complete disarray. They never saw us coming. Morgan's voice carried across all channels as he addressed the Council. For 50 years, you saw us as children playing with borrowed toys. You demanded tribute from us, thinking we would bow down like so many others. Instead, we bring you this fleet, not as tribute, but as a reminder. The Thunderchild's massive form moved closer to the Council's orbital defense platforms, its shadow covering them completely. Humanity doesn't submit to bullies, Morgan declared. We don't pay tribute to those who threaten us. Instead, we prepare, we adapt, and we overcome. He leaned forward in his command chair, his voice firm. Now shall we discuss a new relationship between Earth and the Council? One based on mutual respect, rather than demands and threats. The Council chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. The primitive humans hadn't just caught up to their technology. They had surpassed it. And now, with their fleet in position, there was nothing the Council could do about it. High Counselor Marcus looked at the fleet surrounding his world, finally understanding the true cost of underestimating humanity. The tribute demand had backfired spectacularly, and now the galaxy would never be the same. The Council's emergency session was like nothing seen in its 1,000-year history. Representatives from 200 species filled the great chamber, their voices rising in a storm of argument and accusation. The massive curved walls, usually displaying serene space scenes, now showed live feeds of Earth's fleet holding position around the capital world. Council member Robert Harris, secretly Earth's highest-placed ally, watched the chaos with hidden satisfaction. After decades of pretending to be a member of an ancient spacefaring race, he was finally seeing the Council's iron grip weaken. The humans have made us look like fools, shouted the representative of the Stellar Collective, his crystalline form flashing with anger. Our own technology turned against us. We should strike now, called another member. Show them the true might of the Council. High Counselor Marcus, his authority crumbling by the minute, raised his hands for silence. Our military experts say a direct conflict would be unwise. Their ships are positioned to disable our primary defense grid within minutes. Then perhaps, Robert spoke up, his voice calm. It's time we reconsidered our approach to younger species. All eyes turned to him as he stood. The humans have proven that age does not equal wisdom, nor does a long history in space guarantee superiority. On board the Thunderchild, Fleet Commander Morgan received an interesting series of messages. Sir, we're getting communications from at least 30 Council member species. They're requesting private channels. Morgan smiled. Just as we expected. Put the first one through to my private comm. The messages revealed what Earth's intelligence had long suspected. Many species had suffered under the Council's protection, forced to pay tributes and bow to their authority. Now they saw humanity as a potential ally against the old order. Back in the Council chamber, The Merchant Guild's representative was reviewing trade data with growing alarm. Our economic projections are falling apart. 3 major trading alliances have already announced they're seeking new agreements with Earth. Robert Harris moved through the panicked crowds, secretly sending updates to Earth's leadership. The Council's power structure, built on intimidation and tribute, was collapsing faster than anyone had predicted. In a private chamber, several council members met in secret. "We need human technology," one whispered. "Their shield innovations alone would revolutionize our defenses." "They won't share it," another replied. "Not after how we treated them. Would you, in their position?" The news spread quickly through the galaxy. On 1,000 worlds, beams watched recordings of Earth's fleet appearing around the Council capital. Species that had been considering joining the Council suddenly delayed their applications. Others began quietly reaching out to Earth's diplomats. High Counselor Marcus sat alone in his office, watching his life's work crumble. A message from Earth's Admiral Stone appeared on his screen, ready to discuss new terms. In Earth's orbital command center, Admiral Stone and his staff monitored the political chaos spreading through Council space. 17 independent systems have requested defensive alliances, an aide reported, and the frontier colonies are asking about trade deals. "And the Council members?" Stone asked. "Fighting among themselves," the aide replied with a smile. "Their whole system was based on looking strong. Now everyone sees they're not as powerful as they claimed." Robert Harris left the Council chamber, his part in the deception finally complete. In his private quarters, he removed the alien disguise he'd worn for so long. Earth's plan had worked perfectly. The Council's arrogant demand for tribute hadn't just failed, it had shattered the very foundation of their power. Across the galaxy, a new phrase began spreading through diplomatic channels. Never demand tribute from Earth. The old order was ending, and humanity had proven itself far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The grand doors of the Council's main chamber swung open as Earth's diplomatic team entered. Ambassador Maria Torres led the group, her simple black uniform standing in stark contrast to the elaborate robes of the Council members. Through the chamber's massive windows, the Thunderchild's silhouette served as a constant reminder of humanity's power. "Welcome to the Council chambers," High Counselor Marcus said, his voice lacking its usual confidence. "We are prepared to discuss new terms." Maria smiled politely, taking her seat at the center of the chamber. Behind her, Admiral Stone stood with his arms crossed, while Intelligence Director Emma Parker carried a datapad containing evidence of Council corruption spanning centuries. "Before we begin," Maria said, her voice clear and strong, "I want everyone to look at these screens." She nodded to Emma, who activated the chamber's display systems. Images appeared showing dozens of worlds stripped of resources through the Council's tribute system. Documents revealed how Council members had grown wealthy by exploiting younger civilizations. Trade records exposed how the tribute system had kept promising species from advancing. For centuries, Maria continued, the Council has demanded tribute from younger species, claiming it was their duty to civilization. Today that ends. In orbit above, Fleet Commander Morgan watched the proceedings through a secure feed. "All ships maintain position," he ordered. "Let's make sure our friends in the Council don't get any foolish ideas during the negotiations." Back in the chamber, Maria brought up a new document on the screens. "This is our proposal for a reformed galactic community, one where all species are treated as equals, not sources of tribute." The Council members murmured as they read through Earth's demands. An end to all tribute systems. Protection for developing civilizations. Shared technological advancement. Fair trade agreements. Democratic representation for all member species. "This is outrageous," one Council member shouted. "You cannot simply." "We can, and we will," Admiral Stone interrupted, stepping forward, "unless you prefer to discuss terms with our fleet instead of our diplomats." High Counselor Marcus raised his hand for silence. Perhaps we should consider these proposals carefully." Robert Harris, now revealed as Earth's agent, stood up. "I have served on this council for 15 years. I have seen how the tribute system crushes innovation and breeds resentment. Earth's proposals offer us a chance to build something better." Maria nodded to Emma, who revealed more documents. "We've also received messages from 47 council member species supporting our reforms. They're tired of the old way of doing things." The chamber erupted in surprised whispers. Nearly a quarter of the council's members had already aligned with Earth's position. "Your choice is simple," Maria declared. "Join us in building a better galaxy, or watch as your power crumbles. Earth won't allow the exploitation of younger species to continue." Through the windows, more ships could be seen arriving. Vessels from other species that had suffered under the Council's tribute demands, coming to support Earth's position. Marcus looked at the coalition forming before his eyes. Humanity hadn't just brought military might, they'd brought hope to countless species who had suffered in silence. "Very well," he said finally. "The Council will consider these reforms, but you must understand, changing centuries of tradition will take time." "Time we will give you," Maria replied firmly. "But our fleet will remain in position until the reforms are officially adopted. Consider it our insurance policy." As the negotiations continued, news spread throughout the galaxy. Earth, the supposedly primitive species that the Council had tried to exploit, was dismantling the corrupt tribute system. And they were doing it not just through force, but through justice and diplomacy. The age of tribute was ending. A new era of galactic cooperation was about to begin. 1 year after Earth's fleet appeared over the Council capital, the galaxy had changed more than anyone could have imagined. The Great Hall of the newly renamed Galactic Assembly buzzed with activity as representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered for the historic first session under the new charter. Admiral Stone stood at the observation deck of the Thunderchild, now permanently stationed near the assembly as a symbol of the new era. Below, ships from countless species moved freely through space, no longer afraid of tribute demands or council interference. "Admiral," his comm officer called out, "the ceremony is about to begin." In the assembly chamber, Ambassador Maria Torres took her place at the speaker's podium. The walls displayed images from across the galaxy, newly freed worlds rebuilding their economies, young civilizations making their first steps into space without fear, and former council worlds adapting to the new order. 1 year ago, Maria began, Earth faced a choice: submit to demands for tribute, or stand up for what was right. Today, we see the results of that choice. The assembly hall's screen showed the changes. 57 new species had achieved spacefaring status, no longer held back by tribute demands. Trade between worlds had increased by 300%. A new defense fleet, crewed by members of all species, protected developing civilizations. The former council's corrupt leaders faced justice for centuries of exploitation. High Counselor Marcus, now simply Representative Marcus, watched from his reduced position. The past year had taught him much about humility. "We were wrong about humans," he admitted to Robert Harris, who sat nearby. "We saw their youth as weakness. Instead, it was their greatest strength." In orbit, Fleet Commander Morgan received reports from Earth's ships across the galaxy. They worked alongside vessels from other species now, teaching and learning, growing stronger together. The Thunderchild's crew included members of 20 different species, each bringing their own knowledge and skills. The tribute system didn't just hurt its victims. Maria continued her speech. It hurt everyone. It stopped us from seeing what we could achieve together. Director Linda Wells, watching from her new research facility, smiled as she saw alien scientists working alongside humans. Their combined knowledge had already produced advances that neither species could have achieved alone. In the Assembly Security Center, Intelligence Director Emma Parker and Thomas Reed coordinated with their counterparts from other worlds. The new Galactic Defense Network focused on protecting younger civilizations rather than exploiting them. Earth's response to the Council's tribute demand proved something important, Maria declared. "True strength doesn't come from taking from others. It comes from standing together, from helping each other grow. The screens showed the next generation of Earth's fleet, ships built through cooperation between species, combining the best of all their technologies. The Thunderchild had been impressive, but these new vessels represented something even greater: unity. Admiral Stone stepped onto the assembly floor as Maria finished speaking. He carried with him the last piece of the old Council's tribute system, their golden staff of office. With cameras watching from across the galaxy, he broke it in half. "Let this be a reminder," he said, his voice firm. "No more tributes, no more exploitation. From now on, we rise together." The assembly erupted in cheers. Species that had once feared the Council now stood as equals. Civilizations that had hidden their advances now shared them freely. The galaxy had transformed from a place of fear and tribute to one of cooperation and growth. As the celebration continued, Admiral Stone looked out at the gathered representatives. The Council's demand for tribute had indeed backfired, but in doing so, it had created something far greater than anyone had imagined. Humanity had not just avoided becoming slaves to the Council. They had helped free the galaxy itself.